So, sitting out in the yard, really sunbathing because it feels great to sunbathe, especially on body hurting days. It's like basking in the heat, and the vitamin D helps you feel better. And a lot of the times while I sit out in the yard and I do that, I like to look out and think through things. And it was like I got just so much knowledge revealed to me just sitting and looking at trees. What you mean looking at trees? Well, hear me out. Your faith, the growth of your faith in your spiritual relationship is comparable to that of a tree. Let me explain. You have the trees that, start growing, they get a little crooked, they straighten back out, and then they continue to grow. You have the trees that are just starting, you have the ones that are standing tall and firm and wide. Then you have the trees that look like they're rotting, don't have any, good looking bark or wood to them, but they haven't fallen yet. You have the trees that have rotted, fallen, they're just done. But you also have the trees that have fallen, but then another grows from it. And the branches go into it as well. Because with our faith, with our spiritual growth and everything, we're not supposed to just hold it all in and hold all this information and this salvation to ourselves. No, we're to branch out and to share it. And as well as the trees too, you see the ones that, started growing, they got one branched out, but then they stopped for a bit. They didn't branch out anymore until they get even further. You have the ones that have these big, beautiful branches full of leaves and everything. And then you have the branches that stay, then you have the branches that fall off and die. Well, how's that comparable? Well, let me explain. When we branch out, when we share salvation, when we share our faith, we are sharing the love of Christ. We are sharing his light because he is the light of the world, right? We kind of understand that's a verse, that's an understand, that's a thing. He is good. He is light. He is joy. Okay? So you see branches a lot of time on trees, they're growing towards the light because they need that light. The leaves, water, light, photosynthesis, growth continues more. But there are the branches that don't make it to the light or that a storm comes and that they fall off. Okay, well, that's a storm. That's Mother Nature. Dude, we have storms through life every time. There's countless songs about it, not even specifically Christian songs, country songs, rock songs, old folky music songs. Storms come in our lives and they disrupt things. And just like in a storm, the trees and everything outside, you'll see the ones that just sway a little bit. You'll see the ones that look like they're about to go, but they don't. And then you'll see the ones, branches falling off, trees being brought down. It looks like you're being destroyed. The storms of life are the challenges that come into our life, and they challenge and they test our faith. And for some, it doesn't last. For some, that storm is what breaks them. And for some, it rocks them pretty heavy, but they don't break you. They're still holding on. They're still reaching up into God with everything that got to that light to continue growing with Him. There's the ones that they've reached out to and they've cultivated and continued the relationship and helped them cultivate their faith. Those branches are growing strong. They're fanning out themselves. They're doing great. And then there are the branches that just, they didn't stick with it. They didn't stay going towards the light and they're brought down, even by a gust of wind. And some, they seem like they're doing good, but then that storm is what stops them right there. Run it back. Because y'all remember I said also there's the trees that have fallen and there's a new one growing from it. I promise y'all, I ain't never seen it till I got my property here in my land. Should I say my property and my land, but with what I see here, this is God's country. Because there are trees that were knocked down by a storm, by weeds, vines, parasitic plants, some disease to the trees that it makes it seem like they just rotted and fell. Because there'd be whole clusters of them together that have this same issue and same thing happening. Like we see in life, right? Because if you're in a cluster and all of you are going through it and everything, it's harder to get out of it. When you're surrounded by it, it does make things harder. For sure. I'm not going to lie and say it don't. They're the trees that fell. But then from these fallen trees, two of them back there that I know of and I can spot and I can find easy, that fell, and another tree is growing from it. We all mess up in life. Ain't nobody perfect. That's just like, don't judge people and everything because, honey, I ain't no judge. I got a case on me too. I'm going to sit, before the judgment seat of Christ too. So I can't say nothing. But even myself, I have fallen. I fell off the way and everything. But then I found that light again. I started reaching and climbing to that light. And I'm still I'm growing strong with my faith. Just like a tree that fell, another grows from it. You can say this is crazy. You can say this is hippie talking. You can say this is the weirdest analogy you ever heard. And that's fine. But then for the couple that'll sit there and say, you know what? That makes so much sense. And can encourage them to continue growing their faith and realize on cultivating and continuing something. Because that's just like the branches that don't get light and water. The trees that don't get enough light and water. They don't grow. Light of the world. Christ. Living water. Christ. We absorb these things. And if we continue to absorb him, we continue to reach for him, we continue to branch out and follow up and cultivate and build a relationship with people under Christ, encouraging all us to reach for him, that is how we grow strong. That is how we get greater. And that is how such beauty is found in this world. To see a tree that has fallen and another grows from it, that's beautiful. Because it did not die. Because it regrew. And that's so similar to the beauty that I see on people that fell off of their faith, that lost sight of God, that the world was blinding them to him and everything. And then they found the light again and they climbed to greater. That revival, that restoration, that continual cultivation of your faith, of your spiritual relationship, that's beauty. And branching out and leading others to that light and that water and that kind of beauty in this world, that's what really makes the greatest difference. Well, no, you can be talking truths on a tree sermon. And God's good, man.